The Beatitudes are a series of blessings recounted by Jesus in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. They are a foundational part of his Sermon on the Mount, Matthew, and Sermon on the Plain, Luke, and describe the character and rewards of those who live as citizens of God's kingdom. The word beatitude comes from the Latin word beatus, which means blessed or happy. The Beatitudes can be seen as a radical inversion of worldly values, where what is often considered weak, sad, or undesirable is declared to be blessed by God. They are not a list of rules to follow to earn salvation, but rather a description of the character of a true disciple of Christ. The Beatitudes in Matthew 5, 3-12, this is the most well-known version of the Beatitudes. There are generally considered to be 8, with a final blessing that expands on the theme of persecution. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew chapter 5, 3. This doesn't necessarily refer to economic poverty, but to a spiritual humility and self-awareness of one's need for God. It's an acknowledgement of our spiritual bankruptcy and a reliance on God's grace. This concept is echoed in places like Isaiah 66:2, which says, "But this is the one to whom I will look, he who is humble and contrite in spirit and trembles at my word. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Matthew 5:4. This refers to mourning over sin, the injustices of the world, and our brokenness. It's a sorrow that leads to repentance and a longing for God's restoration. The promise is that God himself will provide comfort. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. Meekness is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is a gentle and patient spirit that does not demand its own way, but rather submits to God's will. This is a direct contrast to the worldly idea that the powerful and aggressive will succeed. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Matthew 5:6. This is a deep, passionate longing for justice, goodness, and right standing with God. It's not a casual desire, but a hunger and thirst that can only be satisfied by God himself. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Matthew 5:7. Mercy is an act of compassion, forgiveness, and kindness toward those who are in need. This beatitude highlights the reciprocal nature of mercy. Those who show mercy will receive it from God. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Matthew 5:8. This speaks to sincerity, integrity, and undivided devotion to God. It refers to an inner state where one's motives and desires are free from corruption and are focused on pleasing God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Matthew 5:9. A peacemaker is not simply someone who avoids conflict, but actively works to reconcile broken relationships and bring harmony. They strive to bring God's peace into the world. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. This is a final blessing for those who are mistreated, reviled, or suffer because of their faith and commitment to living a righteous life. It reaffirms that suffering for the sake of the gospel is a blessed state